see, I think we should start with something that you just brought up to Calvin, which was his golf game, man.
Yeah. And just the lack of golf that we get to play living in the cold weather state. So I was asking you about the golf game, and you said you don't start playing until when?
Until snowboard season is over. I got to put the snowboard down first.
And in Michigan, when is snowboard season over? In like June?
Man, actually, snowboard season over now here in Michigan, bro. We haven't gotten good snow out here really all year, but I look forward to getting out west all the time.
That's dope.
Are you? Because it's interesting, because obviously, you could live anywhere, right? What made you stay in Michigan, Calvin, even after your NFL playing days?
Yeah, man, it's really the business. I had, wifey, we were going to move down south right after retirement and whatnot. But the business opportunities, they started to pop up, and it's really just hard to leave a business and be in a totally different place.
Yeah. I'm just like getting in a vision of you snowboarding. It must be.
He's got to be really good at it.
Yeah.
But he's got to be really good at it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ain't going to be out there falling. I've been snowboarding now like 6 years now. So, I got my step-ins. I'm a fluid snowboarder.
Man, I tried it, bro. So the first time I went snowboarding, I think it was around 2005. And that's when I tore my meniscus. So did that in the off season in Tahoe. And I was like, all right, like I'm gonna wait until I retire and then try to do it again. And we went on a trip to Finland, and I tried to snowboard, and it was literally the worst experience of my life. I had no balance. I couldn't get off the ramp. I had everybody waiting. Like it was.
Oh no! And you're like sweating.
I'm never going on a cold weather vacation again, man. It's just not for me. I can't do it.
I guess I can mark CC off the invite list.
If you're going to ask for anything like that, mark me off the list, bro.
That's funny. Now, Calvin, speaking of other sports that you dominated in, I'm sure a lot of our audience doesn't know that you were an exceptional high school shortstop, right? You had a lot of MLB scouts interested in you.
Yeah, I played all over the place, but I mainly played in center field. I pitched a little bit until I hurt my elbow, but I was just hawking them down, making diving catches in the center field and outfield, and then my bat started to come along a little bit too. So I was being sought after a little bit when I was in high school.
When did you start playing baseball? Did you play baseball as a kid, like growing up?
Yeah, I played baseball, from T-ball. I wanted to play football from a little kid, but my mom wouldn't let me. She wouldn't let me until I got to 7th grade.
Ooh, that was a smart move by mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess she was planning on something, I guess,
huh? She knew what was going on. Now, had you continued with your baseball career, Calvin, do you think you had a shot to go pro?
I got a shot. I would have had a shot to go play in the leagues. I guess the
minor leagues.
I would have had a chance to go play in the minor leagues right out of high school. But I think the one decision or one thing that helped me make that decision was, my sister was tutoring me when I was in college, and really just helping me make sure I'm ready for college. Just make sure I'm up on my stuff. My mom, she being an educator, she forced me to go downtown. My sister went to Clark Atlanta University, and being around the college scene, man, I was like, man, how could I forego this?
Yeah,
all the beautiful people. It was great.
Yeah, it is a once in a lifetime sort of experience. And there's a connection here, because your son is playing baseball at Georgia Tech as a freshman. Calvin, you obviously were a star at Georgia Tech. What can you tell little C about the experience of being at Georgia Tech?
The thing about Georgia Tech, you don't realize you're in the middle of a major city until you step outside of the campus. When you're on that campus, it's just really like, oh, I'm on a college campus. It's nice and tight, and it is not. It does not a super expansive campus, but it's sitting right off of Highway 75 and 85 in the middle of Atlanta, and it's just on the, it's just right there. You wouldn't notice it driving by, but you are in a major city, though. So you do have that, that following that comes with that. So I think that's the good part about it. You're going to have media, being there, and Georgia Tech's had a great baseball program for a long time. So I really look forward to seeing him down there. Is Danny Hall still the coach over there? Or?
Danny Hall still the coach.
Yep. Good dude.
Yeah, but my boy ain't never coming home, bro. He loves Atlanta, and you just said Clark Atlanta. He got a chance to go to Clark Atlanta and Spelman for homecoming and all that. That boy ain't never he ain't never leaving Atlanta. It's a wrap, bro. Like you said, the campus is right downtown, but you feel like you're on a college campus, and you step out and you got downtown Atlanta. So. I mean, it's gonna be tough to get him to move back to Jersey after being in Atlanta only for like 9 months now. So it's crazy.
That Southern hospitality gonna keep him.
Calvin, you were just obviously you were an unbelievable NFL player. But speaking about the Georgia Tech time, you were an incredible receiver at Georgia Tech. What's one of your fondest memories? It doesn't have to be football related, but when you just think about your experience at Georgia Tech.
Man, I don't know if y'all show.
You could say you could not.
Oh no, hell no! That's my show.
NC-17.
The greatest thing probably about Tech was that was my first experience with cannabis, and it was a good experience. And I guess today I'm in the cannabis industry, but I think so many great relationships there. I mean, I think about like only my second game playing. It's like welcome to the national stage. I played against Clemson and had 3 touchdowns in the game, but just really. I don't want to say cannabis was my only thing there. There's so many.
No, I mean, if that was the experience, it was a great experience. It is what it is.
It was my first experience, though. That is true. It was my first experience with cannabis. So that was a pretty cool thing. Just like I say, it's the industry that I'm in right now that I lead a team on. So it's pretty cool.
What's crazy is that I wish I would have had that opportunity like you did. Like you said, your sister was at Clark Atlanta, just to get that. Like that feel of a college campus when you're in high school. Because for me, I wanted to go to college, but I wish I would have had like that influence and experience to like see, like this is really cool. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? To have that instead of going out of high school, I wish I would have went to school for sure.
I feel you. Where would you have gone? Did you have any places you were thinking about?
If I would have really went, it would have been to UCLA. That's where I would have probably went. So, I mean, it would have probably been a great experience. And like our generation, we grew up wanting to play in college. These kids now, they grew up just thinking about the pros and, foregoing college. But for us, college was, you had to go that route to get to the pros. Mm-hmm. So I grew up wanting to play college sports, you know what I'm saying? And just, circumstances and whatever, worked out in a different way. But I wish I had that opportunity to go to a college campus when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Well, Calvin, normally, we'd save your business venture for the end of the program, but since you just segued so nicely, I mean, you are working now in the cannabis industry, although your company, Primitiv, is beyond just cannabis, a wellness company at large. What can you tell us about just as far as what you guys are doing and the business and your interest and investment in this field?
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, cannabis, we call ourselves primitive for this reason I'm about to explain. Cannabis has been used by humans for millennia, plant medicine, but cannabis in particular, because that's what we're talking about here. So by definition or by nature, it is primitive. I think that a big part of me wanting to be in this industry was, my own experiences in conflict with those stigmas that are out there right now, and seeing what my experiences were, being positive, being that of, this is a great tool. This helps me sleep, which is great for my recovery. There's more than that. And I'm just like, okay, man, like there's more to this than we talk about. And it really wasn't until I was on Dancing with the Stars, I was about to like dip off the show because I was like, my ankles were swelling up like they did when I was playing. I couldn't move and you got to be on your toes all the time. I just couldn't make it happen. And one of my buddies brought me a topical, and I started using it. Days later, my swelling subsided, and I'm just like, holy crap. That was the aha moment for me when I used it in a different application than, rolling it up and smoking and trying to get your relief that way. Then I was like, okay, there's more to this. Let's get down to the science of it. And with the company that we created, that's what we're focused on, education, innovation, and research. And we're just being able to now scratch off that research end. We've been, advocates in the industry. We're being innovative with the products that we're creating on the nanotechnology side, which is exciting for us. So it's just continue to, just be what we talk about, do the things that we set out for ourselves and keep it all in front of us.
What do you have going on the nanotechnology side?
Yeah, so essentially what we started with Primitive Performance is basically bringing those products that we use on the field, just for all athletes, creating those products like a topical and the ORS. Those are our first two SKUs. The ORS being an oral rehydration solution, think liquid IV, Element, and those companies. But what we're doing different is that we're adding cannabinoids to it. With that in the topical, we're bringing in the use of CBD, CBC, CBN, and CBG. And with that, we're able to fight inflammation both internally and topically. I'm most excited about the topical though, because, I have all my bumps and bruises. Like I say, we're all active. So I get the most use out of that one. And it works very well for all the ailments that I have. So just excited to be able to, to impact other folks in ours quality of life.
Is the goal to try to get the NFL to use this stuff in the training rooms as opposed to some of the stuff that we have in there now?
Yeah, I mean, and the stuff that we have in there now is just like big tubs of stuff that might get your muscles warmed up or, might cool them off, but there's no function to those. It's really just, I mean, there's no healing or anything that comes with that. But that's why we created our brand in such a clean way, is just to be able to attract those, the likes of the NFL and different leagues. That's why we have the cleanliness. That's why we have our vision, mission, and core value as such. Focused on advocacy and education and innovation and research so that we can, prove what we're doing too.
Well, we'll make sure to get you our addresses at the end for all the free samples, Calvin. Thanks so much.
Mine's already here, Ruko. You late, bro.
Hey, man. Hey, check that tracking number, man. I'm going to send you another one if you don't see it. Don't worry. I'm going to give you another one anyway. You're a big guy.
He sent me the tracking number for the topical this morning, so I'm waiting on mine on the way, bro.
Nice, man. Very nice. Very nice. Calvin, you have, I would say, probably a top 5 all-time sports nickname. You think that's fair, C? Megatron has got to be up there, right?
It's not 5.
It's not 5. It's not 5. It might be 1. It might be 1. It could be the greatest nickname in the history of sports. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but as the story goes, it was your teammate, Roy Williams, right, who came up with it initially. How long did it take for it to feel like, oh, wait, this is going to stick? I'm just going to be Megatron.
It didn't stick until during my second season. Roy was calling me that my whole rookie year. That's kind of in 2007. That's when the first Transformers came out. So, was that thing? He would just, Megatron. Everybody on the team was just Megatron. And then it didn't really pick up with all the announcers and whatnot to partially do that second season.
Were you a big Transformers fan at the time? Or had you seen the movies?
The funny thing, I wasn't a huge Transformers fan really until the movies came out. As a kid, I had Transformers toys and whatnot. But I was initially, I was like, dang, man, that's the bad guy. Don't I want to be Optimus Prime? Then I was like, shit, I can be the bad guy to the defense all day. That works out.
That is great. So, I mean, as it does start to take, and maybe you've come to terms with being the bad guy for the nickname. Is there a moment, or is there just kind of a description of how you ended up embracing it and feeling like, wow, I'm Megatron? Do you ever have that moment then?
You say just, trying to embrace it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to, man. That became my name. I don't think people really knew my name for real, So I had to embrace it.
Well, and your Instagram handle's even Megatron now, right?
I mean, because people don't know my name for real. I'd be like, people just call me Megatron. I'm like, damn, do you really even know my name? I think only because I'm doing stuff like this, people might know my real name.
This is Calvin Johnson.
What's crazy too is that the first time we ever met was at his legendary. He got that legendary ESPN. This is Sports Center commercial, and we filmed our Sports Center commercials at the same time.
Oh, really?
That was the first time we ever met. So that had to be 2000 and maybe 10, maybe 11. I was with
Yeah. Thank you. That's pretty cool, man.
Did you guys have a good time shooting it? Because the commercials always come out great. But how about the process of making it?
Man, the fact that I was in there with, at ESPN, I met CeCe that day. I met Ricky Fowler that day. And I was in there shooting with Stuart Scott and the crew, man. And I was like, man, this is great.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
By the way, you're talking about people just knowing you as Megatron. So I'm guessing people come up to you on the street, are they saying, yo, Megatron, or are they saying Calvin?
Only the people, like if I'm doing something cannabis related, it's like 50-50, you know? If I'm like anything Lions related or anything just football or even on the street at the gas station, Megatron.
It's like an actor in a show where you just like call them by the character's name instead of their real name.
Yeah, I'm sure people in Detroit too, like they like anytime they see you, that's Megatron automatically.
Oh yeah, all day.
You know, Calvin, I wanted to ask you kind of about the concept of, you're talking about the Detroit fans. You, for many years, much like Barry Sanders was before you, were the pride and joy of Lions fans, right? Even if the team wasn't winning games, we got Megatron, you know? And there does seem to be, and I think we all get a glimpse of this on Thanksgivings every year, this ownership from the community of Detroit about their team where they feel connected to stories within the wins and losses in a way that, at least from afar, feels more pronounced than other fan bases, perhaps. How much responsibility did you feel being the guy for that fan base, especially, you know, for a franchise that obviously doesn't have the richest history when it comes to wins and losses?
Yeah, I mean, that was, you know, it weighed heavily on me, even like in my retirement decision, because, you know, I knew a lot of people came just to, you know, not just to see me. There's a lot of great players on the team, but a good part of them came to see me play. Came to see me put up, you know, perform out there. So I mean, that weighed heavily because, you know, it sucked to, you know, to take that away from the fans, but at the same time, it was about me and having that good quality of life. I put out some great memories and great experiences for them. But yeah, man, that was something that weighed heavily. And honestly, when I made that decision, it was a big weight off my shoulder too.
I bet.
Do you think being if you know, having the history that the Lions had, if you were in trying to think like New England or somewhere else where the history was a little different, whereas, you know, more of a winning culture, you think you would have stuck around a little longer?
It's hard to say, but it's possible. You know, I was talking the other day to somebody about just different players around the league, like Aaron Rodgers and Lamar, and just certain players that I mean, in hindsight, while you're in the minute, I wasn't thinking this of myself in the minute, but in hindsight, I think about it, I would have had success anywhere just because of doing how I approached the game. So, you know, I feel like, of course, you know, I would have took that success I had here in Detroit and I would have been able to put that somewhere else. I mean, shoot, if I would have got drafted somewhere else, and I'm not going to say the same thing would happen, the same output, but you never know. But I truly feel like the energy and the focus that I put into it, I would have achieved similar results elsewhere, and that could have been on a winner. Yeah.
Hell yeah, you would have. You would have been putting up those numbers anywhere, man. Are you kidding me? Like, there's no doubt. You almost had 2,000 yards in a season. There have been franchises clamoring for you in their uniform. But it's interesting because I was listening somewhat recently to Damian Lillard on my colleague JJ Redick's podcast, and there is something, and I've talked with Dame about this in the past, that okay, like he knows or he's aware that there have been many seasons where his team doesn't have a chance at the finals, but he's not just like looking to hop, because there's things about that connection that he values. And in, you know, ring culture, which exists probably, we talk about it much more so in the NBA than any other sport, but it pervades all sports conversations. It's interesting talking to a guy like Dame or a guy like you, Calvin, who had this unbelievable, fruitful career, but maybe in today's culture, there would have been more pressure on, hey, Calvin, do you want to get off this team and go try and play for a championship? But I'd imagine there's a fulfilling part of you that's like, no, I played at one place, I did something for these fans, and yeah, maybe it didn't result in a ring, but it resulted in a whole lot of other really beautiful experiences.
I mean, I think with that being said, you know, what we're seeing, and me partially being in Detroit, is that, you know, places that the guys have success in, you know, when you move away, if I go back to Atlanta, yeah, people might recognize me, but I don't have that same kind of clout that I do in Detroit. I don't got that same kind of pull like I do in Detroit, you know. Or I got a cop that might give me an escort off a flip of a hat. I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? But something to staying in the town, and because the fans, you know, you really you stay close to their heart, and I really love being here because I'm able to, do things, especially being in the cannabis industry where I can, come together with the fans and, really share some special moments.
I feel that 100% because me staying here in Jersey, I didn't want to stay here, but having the 4 kids and my kids, being East Coast kids, we ended up having to stay here. But for business wise and anything that I want to do, being in Yankee land, this is the perfect place for me to be. You know what I mean? After playing here 11 years.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Calvin, how was the Celebrity All-Star game in Salt Lake City?
It's funny, man. The only reason I got invited to that, so me and my buddy Gossip Chairless, one of the offensive tackles, he played with me here in Detroit for a while. I snowboard, you ski. We were out in Park City. We was like, man, let's hit up a game while we're out here. We went out on Wednesday night to check out the game, and the ownership group was dope out there, man. They took care of us. They showed us around the house, around the arena, and really how they take care of the players. Like it's next level, man. How they take care of the players, like Alabama and stuff like that. These organizations that really put a lot of value into just where their team is at, I guess, in the headspace and on the court. So I was, they showed me around, we had a good time. So they invited me back out to All-Star Weekend, playing the game. I don't know why I say yes, but I did, because I don't be hooping. I messed around and hurt myself at the end of the second half, man. I'm just not recovering from that.
Really? What'd you do? What'd you do?
I came down on somebody's foot after trying to block a shot, and I was swatting people's stuff, boy. I came down on somebody's foot, and I don't know. It's like an Achilles and calf injury that I had. Something got tightened up in there. I couldn't even flex my toe after that.
Nah, hooping ain't. That's what we got to stick to the golf course, bro.
Hey, you're right.
But Calvin, it's unbelievable. You can do everything. We also saw you finish top 3 on Dancing with the Stars as well, man.
That was a blast, man. That was a blast.
How were those workouts?
Enough, but it was a blast.
It looks intense. It looks the work that goes in to getting ready for each performance seems so intense. How would you just describe the process and the work that goes into getting ready?
Yeah, for sure. At the very beginning, they told me it's like 3-4 days a week. You perform once a week. It's that simple, Come on. I'm like, oh, okay, that's easy. I can do. Man, that thing is 6 days a week. It's one day is off. It's just travel day. Basically, you work Monday through Friday, travel Friday or Saturday, and then on the weekend, on Saturday, you do like a walkthrough. Kind of literally, you perform on Saturday just so everybody, the cameras know where to be at. For when you go live on Sunday, and the Sunday is a live show. And what's crazy is like you're putting in all this footwork, all this stuff in really 4 or 5 days, all this content, like 2 minutes worth of steps. And depending on the song, it might be like that, or it might be drawn out in like a ballroom type deal. With that cha-cha, you just constantly moving, like just footwork drill for 2 minutes, and you got to remember what you're doing. So it's really like you really got to go all in, or you're gonna be looking foolish out there. So if you don't go all in and get that stuff built into your muscle memory throughout those 4 days that you got to get it in, then Sunday when it comes, if you mess up, it's for the whole world to see, and it's bad. It's very bad. So I messed up in one dance. I forget which dance it was, but other than that, man, if you put in the work, you'll get. It'll be a hell of an experience. And I made it to the finals, so. It was a heck of an experience, to lose to what's the gymnast's name? Lori. I forget her name.
Someone will text us the answer in a moment.
Sure. But I lost to gold medalist, so I'm like, it's okay. I made it to the finals.
That's not too bad. Now, Calvin, has it enhanced your dancing performance in the aftermath of that? Has it made you any more anxious to start moving when you hear music?
Yes, but that's not necessarily a good thing because I mean I can coach, but if I'm just freestyling. No, that's not the best thing.
You need to have some structure.
That's great. You need to go back to your 3 days a week and your one performance, man.
I was calling my girl Lindsay up like, hey, I need some help.
And Lori Hernandez. That's who it was, who he lost to. Lori Hernandez.
Lori Hernandez. Boom.
Yes, that's who it was. Calvin, I want to ask you also, when it comes to Primitiv, your cannabis and wellness company, people want to learn about it. People want to purchase your products. How do they find out more about it, man?
Yeah, for sure. For just Primitiv, cannabis part of it, that's strictly in the Michigan market, and the other markets that we're licensing with coming online here is Boston, which would be great. But for Primitiv Performance, what we were talking about earlier, that line of products features nanotechnology. You can find it on primitivperformance.com. That's Primitiv without the E at the end, primitivperformance.com. And like I say, it's just exciting because it features nanotechnology. We got a high performance nano emulsion, which is our own intellectual property that's making this so effective. And it's effective because it basically bypasses the intestinal system and gets into the bloodstream, making it more bioavailable for the end user. And that's what's different about our topical and our electrolyte solution. That's different from other products on the market because not all products feature the nanotechnology, and it's just taking it a step further by adding some pharmaceutical equipment into the equation. So we're just trying to stick to our guns and be innovative in the industry.
Super
awesome,
dope.
Man. Well, we know it's going to be a smashing success because you're good at everything you do. So this is there's absolutely no doubt about that. I do want to ask you, though, is there anything that you are hilariously bad at? Like, is there anything that you're just like, man, you know what? Like, this I'm terrible at? Because we know you've gotten into golf, even though you have to wait till it warms up. We know you've become an expert snowboarder. We saw you hoop in Salt Lake City. You can clearly do that. You're one of the greatest receivers of all time.
Seen you photography. You can take pics. Like, you're good at that.
Yep.
Like,
you hit it. We've seen you dance. You hit a home run at Comerica Park.
I mean, the things you listed, dancing would be the least. But I'm trying to think. Well, I can't sing for crap. I like to sing, but I can't sing. So that's just my shower singing, so y'all ain't never gonna hear that. I know there is just whatever I haven't tried yet. Put it like that.
All right.
I take pride in what I do, man. My dad always taught me if you're gonna do something, do it right. So I just take pride in the things that I do.
Well, it shows, Calvin. We so appreciate the time, man, and congratulations on everything you're doing. Continue best of luck with Primitiv, and look forward to seeing whatever you take on next, because we know it's going to be awesome.
Appreciate it, Ryan. Appreciate it, CC.
Appreciate you, bro. Good to see you, dog.
Thanks, man.
No problem. Good to talk to y'all, man.